of us around here love a good glass of wine, and that includes yours truly. But when we're drinking the wine, we want to know what we're really looking for and what to be tasting for. So here to give us a little more education on wine is Haley Bowman from the website Cork and Fizz. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
You are never steering us wrong when it comes to wines, and you've actually gotten me to enjoy wines that I never thought I would. I never thought I'd be a Cabernet Sauvignon girl, but this girl is helping me become an all the wine kind of girl. So let's get started. What are we looking at today?
So I'm really excited to talk about, like you said, what we're tasting for in wine. Because what's crazy is the flavor of wine actually comes from smell for the most part.
Oh.
So when I teach like my wine tasting process, there's 4 steps. It's, you know, look, smell, taste, and think.
Okay.
And that smell part takes care of like 80 to 90% of the flavor.
Ah.
So when we're tasting, we're going to taste for like the structure of the wine.
Structure.
And that includes tannin, but we'll get through a few of them. And then as we talk about these, I'm going to share some of my favorite holiday wines. I wanted to make sure I brought these in for you.
I like it. Okay.
So every holiday party, it's got to start with bubbles, of course, right? But I don't love spending $50 on a bottle of champagne.
I do not like that.
So this is kind of my, it's called in the wine world, champagne on a beer budget.
And is it actual champagne?
So it's not champagne, it's Cremant, which basically means champagne made in a different region in France that isn't Champagne.
Okay.
So it's basically made the same way, but this was made in Burgundy, France.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to get similar flavors. So now when you taste this, I'm going to have you taste for acidity.
Okay.
Acidity is like, how much does it make you like pucker up, like if you bit into a lemon? My other funny thing is like, how much does it make you drool? Which is kind of funny.
It actually makes me drool more than pucker. But I don't know if because champagne tastes so good to me. I don't know if that's why I'm drooling.
I mean, that'll do it too. But the idea is like, basically, when you think of sour food, you like start to salivate, right?
Yes.
So when I do my tastings, I actually do what I call the drool test.
Okay.
So you take a medium-sized sip.
I did.
And then just kind of swish it around your mouth a little bit, and then tip your head forward, but make sure your mouth is shut. That's an important part. Now the question is, if I didn't tell you to shut your mouth, would you have drooled on the table?
Maybe a little.
Okay. Lots of drool, high acidity, not so much, low acidity.
So this seems like it's got a little lower acidity. Am I wrong?
Definitely, I would say like sparkling wines tend to fit medium to high.
Okay.
Yeah, because they have some sweetness in there with the bubbles, but they do have a decent, like kind of that medium high acidity.
Okay, perfect. That's delicious.
Okay, so on the table, I also like to have a white and a red wine. So we're going to go through one of each of those.
All right.
My white wine is this, I always like to recommend, it's a Sauvignon Blanc Semillon blend.
Oh.
So you can find these all over the world. It's also popular in, if you've ever heard of a Bordeaux Blanc, so the white wine from Bordeaux, France.
Yes.
That's their blend.
Okay.
So it's familiar because you get a lot of Sauvignon Blanc notes that a lot of people are familiar with.
Okay.
But the Semillon adds a little like richness, a little heaviness to it.
Oh, so it's not quite a Chardonnay, but
yeah, exactly. So you get that brightness from the Sauvignon Blanc.
Sometimes I like a little heavier than that.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right.
And so when we taste this, we're going to taste for the body, which is that weight of the wine. So yeah, so again, right? That flavor comes from the smell.
I mean, it has a very earthy.
Yeah, this one's very New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh yeah, I feel like I've been transported.
Okay, so as you taste, you're gonna taste for body, which is the weight of the wine, like how heavy does it feel? So we say light, medium, or full bodied.
I would say this is medium.
Medium, kind of down the middle of the road?
Yeah, medium or light medium.
Yeah, I think that fits because like the Sauvignon Blanc is nice and fresh, but the Semillon brings a little bit in. I always compare to like different types of milk. So like light bodied is like a skim milk.
Yeah.
Medium bodied is a 2% milk, and then full bodied is like your whole fat, kind of heavy, viscous coats your mouth.
You know, this is a drink. This is a wine I would serve with a meal versus my maybe drinking before the meal would be more of a salve on its own.
Yes, this is definitely
good with a meal.
And especially with those flavors too, those herbal notes. So okay. And of course, you have to have a red wine, right?
Of course.
For holidays.
Yes.
So our red, instead of going big and bold with a Cabernet Sauvignon, I'm going with more of a food-friendly relative. So
who is that relative?
This is Cabernet Franc.
Ooh.
And so this one is actually from a Washington winery, Melody Lynn, that I'm having you taste.
Chignon.
And this has that same kind of herbal note that we had in the Sauvignon Blanc, which makes it really nice to pair with food, either at Thanksgiving or at Christmas. And it's a really lovely wine. And it has a little less tannin than a Cabernet Sauvignon has.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to taste for.
Okay. All right. So I'll try it.
And so tannin, when you have a taste, it'll be that like dry, grippy feeling that you get in your mouth, almost like you had like cotton balls in your mouth.
Oh, I have the tannins.
Yes, okay, that is what tannin does. And so essentially when we're tasting, I don't have any like super fancy trick, but it's just you're trying to decide low, medium, high tannin.
Okay.
Like how much of that grippy sensation do you feel?
I felt like a medium high on this guy.
Yeah, because you definitely get that. A little bit of grippiness. It almost might feel like your cheek wants to stick to like
my teeth.
your gums a little bit,
Yeah.
or your teeth. That
I
is
don't
tannin.
hate it. I don't hate it. This is good. That is
Yes.
what tannin is.
That is what tannin is. So like
Huh.
a big Cabernet Sauvignon, that'll be like very grippy, lots of, that tannin. And my tip for people who don't love that grippiness, go for like a fatty food or food high in protein to match with the tannin. It'll kind of diet it down a little bit.
Cheers to that.
Or
That's
you could do
genius.
Cabernet Franc, which
I
has
love
less
this.
tannin.
I love this, and I noticed it was in the AVA region of the Columbia Valley, which I learned
Yes.
is really cool because it's got a lot of like geologic elements.
Washington is so cool for wine.
It's so cool for geology and wine.
Okay, so
all right.
of course you have to have dessert, right, at our meal. We're
Absolutely.
bringing out the pecan pie, the pumpkin pie, whatever have you. And when you have a sweet food, you actually want to pair it with a sweet wine. It might seem a little intense.
It seems counterintuitive, but let's try it.
Yeah, so this wine is a tawny port. It is a fortified wine from Portugal. I'm going to give you a heads up. This is what happens is they stop the fermentation process and they add a neutral grape spirit, meaning it's going to be high alcohol. And there's also going to be some sweetness.
I love that as she's talking, I'm like, can I drink? Can I drink? Can I drink? Okay, no, but I learned, high, okay.
So you're gonna taste like the alcohol will be like a heat that you might feel. The joke is like tequila burns all the way to your stomach. Port should not.
Port?
Wine should not burn that far.
No, it did not. It felt like
But it does
heaven
warm
in my
you
mouth.
up, right?
Oh my
And then
gosh.
that sweetness is just kind of, it's hard to detect sweetness in wine because you mix it up with the fruitiness. But this one you can tell because it's rich, it's syrupy.
Forget dessert. I want this
Yes,
port wine.
tawny port, and you can actually get it. What's cool is because they are high alcohol, like 19 to 20%.
So just a little bit.
You can get a little bottle, and
Haley,
it works really well.
Cheers to you, my friend. Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for always coming in and educating us.
Yes, and you can find all of these. I have a holiday wine guide on my website. Just go to corkandfizz.com, and you can learn all about them.
Thank you. Cheers to that. Have I mentioned how much I love my job?